That's exactly what gets them in trouble because they're basing their decisions and their activity on something that is subjective, not objective. The public's emotions are really fueled by the volatility that we're seeing,
Hmm.
and the great thing for us is that most people that haven't been educated properly are not able to identify where those buying areas and where those selling areas are. But the public's emotion for us that understand that is a good thing because it just drives the price quicker into an area where we know there might be a turn in price.
Hmm. And
A-
that's really where you find those that lowest risk, highest reward, and highest probability entry points in the
Right,
markets as
and
well.
that doesn't that sound like a perfect trade? That's
That's what you
exactly
want.
what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is help you identify those areas where the odds of being successful are in your favor, and in your favor in a way where you can take advantage of as much of the profit potential as possible. And I think you got to look at a couple things happening right now. We've got people that emotionally reacted to the CPI number. I think people want to see good news, and what's going to happen between now and the end of the year is still in question as far as the election is concerned. Market does not like uncertainty, so that could have an impact on what happens going forward. And people are going to wait with bated breath for the Fed to come out with their next announcement in December as to how much they're going to raise interest rates. They will raise interest rates, but the question is how much will
I
they?
believe they were saying about a 0.5%
It's
is what
it's
they
now
might,
we're looking at a
what the
half
talk
half
is.
percent. That's what the bets are right now.
That's
But
the scuttlebutt out there.
yeah, but anything can change between now and then. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to have basically two outcomes going forward. Yeah, things are setting up right now for what potentially could be one of the best market upside moves that we're going to see for a long time. You've got almost $200 billion in cash on the sidelines. That money has come out of the market and into cash just recently. So you've got that money, which could propel the market. People want this market to go up, so they're going to be looking for positive things. So now is the time to learn how to take advantage of that if it happens on the upside. What's the other outcome? The other outcome could be that it goes the other direction, or
Bum, bum,
yeah, yeah.
bum.
And there are a lot of big firms and billionaire investors out there that feel that for the next decade we'll be having a flat market. And that's a lost decade. That's virtually no returns or very low returns over the next 10 years. So if that happens, then what do? You need to be prepared for either one of those outcomes. If the market is going up, you want to make sure you can identify the potential or the parts of the market that are going to outperform and then use assets to give you the ability to have increased returns. But if the market's flat, what do you do then? Well, there are assets you can use in flat markets and down markets that will benefit you just like they would in an up market.
I'm really glad you brought that up. That was a great point because that's one of the big things we do here at Investing and Trading Live is talk about the realities of the markets, right? And as you mentioned, there is a lot of cash out there, cash waiting to get in. But that's a possibility. But there's also that downward possibility or just sideways for the next 5, 10, 15 years. That's why we talk about the strategy. The strategy to have opportunities in up markets, also down markets, even sideways markets. And that's what we train and teach here at Online Trading Academy is just opportunities no matter which way this market goes. Then you're no longer hoping that you get to those
Right.
retirement years. If you want to learn more about those strategies, we have these investing classes to dissect and introduce you these strategies to. These are free classes. We do these during the week. We also have them on the weekend, even in the evenings, so pretty much anybody can attend. So text right now for 2 tickets for this investing class. Text the word investing to the number 210 210. When you do that, you're going to get a text back with a day. Then we're also going to make sure we get you a call to get the day, the time and date set up specifically for your schedule. Text the word investing to the number 210 210 right now. So Al, we had a big debacle this week with FTX. It's a crypto
Right.
broker,
Right.
and we're not, without going into the weeds and explaining what it is. Essentially, there was a liquidity issue, and people are having a tough time getting their money. So, what I feel is going to happen here, and here's my personal opinion, is you're going to see. You mentioned earlier about all this cash on the side.
Right.
There's a potential that we're going to see a shift now. people out of crypto. It's a possibility because people are feeling it's not, a good thing to be in. You might see a shift going into either stocks, but also other assets as well, because people know that stocks, I mean, yeah, they have their place and they're a good asset to get into. But right now, are they? Probably, maybe not. Now, with people that are trading crypto, they might understand there's other markets like the futures market and the Forex market, and they're looking for income strategies because that's what they were looking for in the crypto market. Talk about why that's so important to understand these other markets, to be more diverse in your accounts, but also have an income strategy where an asset is open around the clock.
Yeah, well, you mentioned just a minute ago that the market could go up, it could go down, and it could go sideways. And the truth is, it's going to do all three. It always will do that. No matter what, if we're in a bear market, there are going to be days where we have vicious upside moves. Maybe we saw that on Wednesday. In a bear market, or in a bull market, we'll have big down days too. So it's the real benefit to people is understanding how to take advantage regardless of what direction the market is going to be going. And maybe that's using something different than what you have been accustomed to, stocks and mutual funds. And for the people that you mentioned that were in cryptocurrencies, that's where those emotions come in. That's kind of an emotional, volatile part of the market. Other assets are available to you, and they're the same assets that the big firms are using. The major financial banks, the Wall Street banks, are successful on a consistent basis. How can they do that? Well, they use assets that they know will benefit in different market conditions.
And they just call them different words, too. They call them fixed income assets is actually what they call them.
Sure.
So explain that futures and Forex market, why it's so beneficial for them. But these strategies, we have the same tools. We have the same things we can do with them.
Yeah, you can use the same things. This is not something that is just reserved for the Wall Street banks. The assets that we're talking about, like futures, the foreign exchange market, Forex market, and the options market, those are assets that the Wall Street banks use. People like Warren Buffett use them. And there's some great benefits there that you probably haven't been introduced to. They all trade with leverage, which means that every dollar that you have invested in one of those assets is going to control the multiple of that dollar. That's leverage, like a mortgage on a home. Forex and futures trade virtually 24 hours a day, so you have many more opportunities to participate. They give you the opportunity to be diversified. Wall Street pretty much tells you that to be diversified, you need to have maybe 5 or 10 or 15 different stocks that cover different parts of the economy, or a number of different mutual funds. Problem is they're all in the same asset category, that stock. And when the market crashes, the correlation between all of those stocks becomes huge. So even the really good companies get drawn down with the companies that should actually be drawn down. So it really becomes imperative to understand how to use these different assets. The other thing that is really beneficial is that they're short-term in nature. So if you're looking for additional income, and by the way, I think I mentioned this last week or the week before, about 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Almost half, about 49%, are people that make over $100,000 a year. So people are hurting out there, and one of the things that they could use to help them not hurt as much is additional income. That doesn't mean going out and getting another job, but futures, Forex, and options are great for short-term access to cash. And maybe it's daily, weekly, monthly, but it's not long-term like most people are put into something that they're supposed to hold on to for 10 or 20 or 30 years. That's not how you generate income that you need now.
Yeah, those are really good points. And, that's why it's so imperative to have these other strategies to have that second source during those working years. But even having that source during retirement years, we're going to talk about retirement accounts and strategies coming up next. But there's, if you retire, your job is gone. So you no longer have an income stream coming through to pay those bills. So then it just draws down those retirement accounts. That's why we're seeing so many people come to the academy to learn those techniques and strategies now. So when they get to retirement, they still have that income stream coming through. And, as we were just talking about FTX, that whole debacle, here's breaking news for our YouTube and live podcast listeners. the CEO of FTX has just recently resigned. That Sam Bankman-Fried, and also they filed Chapter 11
Oh,
bankruptcy.
wow.
So that's
Okay.
breaking news for our live listeners here on the podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, but also our YouTube listeners watching live right now. So, but these income strategies that you were talking about with the institutions, these are also available to us, the public. We can use futures, we can use Forex, use less capital because of leverage, which allows you to be more capital efficient. And we talk about that in these investing classes. These investing classes, if you're brand new to the markets and you want to learn more about how it actually works, we talk about how the market works and how it functions. We also go through this where if you've been trading and investing for several years, and maybe you're just looking for a boost or more consistency on your accounts, it's for you as well. So text right now for 2 seats for an investing class to be introduced to some of these concepts and techniques and also these assets that we're talking about: futures, Forex, even options. Text the word investing to the number 210 210. If you're driving right now, you might want to pull over. That way you're not texting and driving. They say it's frowned upon or not a recommendation. So pull over, text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for an investing class right here at our local academies. You get 2 seats and a financial quick start kit to get started right away. Now, coming up next, let's get into those retirement strategies, retirement accounts, and I want to talk about why retirees are struggling to retire and have enough and staying retired. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. This is Josh and Al, investing and trading live. We'll be right back. That felt like a long segment.
It did.
But we're still streaming live.